Hi, my name is Nathan Suazo, and today I'm going to show you how to remove an electric water heater. So these are the tools you're going to need: a garden hose so you can drain the water heater, a voltage tester so you don't get electrocuted, a Phillips screwdriver, electrical tape, wire nuts, a pipe cutter, vice grips, and a crescent wrench. So now we're going to turn off the water heater breaker. It's this one. Turn off the water main to the house. We're going to turn off the cold water supply, and we're just going to take this little lever here, turn it off. Now if they don't have this special valve for the water heater, you'll have to turn it off at the street. So now that we have the electrical turned off and we turned off the water main, we can hook up the garden hose and drain the water heater. To release the water out of the water heater, we have to open up this pressure relief valve because there's a vacuum in there, and we're going to release this vacuum. Another way to release the vacuum is open up these supply lines, but this will get things going. So now let's disconnect the water heater, and the first thing we have to do is remove these supply lines. Just take your crescent wrench, and here we go. This will also help drain the water heater too. So there's one, and now we'll do the cold. Just make sure your water is off so it doesn't come spraying out on you. Okay, so now the supply lines are disconnected. We're going to disconnect the earthquake straps. It's pretty simple. You got this bolt and nut here. You just have to loosen it. I guess it's easier said than done, huh? There it goes. And you can usually just do it by hand once you get it going. Just squeeze that. Those two brackets. Sometimes this gets rusted and you gotta use some WD-40, but this is pretty new here. Then just make sure you save the bolt and the nut so you can put it back together later. So I always reattach the nut so we don't lose it and have to buy a new one. Then just do this on the lower one. Okay. So don't forget to reconnect so we don't lose it. You have to disconnect this pipe here. This is part of the pressure relief valve, and I decided to connect it here so it'll be easy to reconnect. And we're going to use this pipe cutter, and then you just connect the pipe cutter and start gently twisting it, tightening it down, and then you start turning it. Turn, tighten down a little more, turn, tighten down a little more. Keep tightening that down, and then it's gonna just cut the copper pipe. It's pretty cool. Keep tightening. There it is. Now we have a nice clean cut, and we can solder that together at the end. We're gonna disconnect the electrical. So just make sure the circuit breaker to the water heater is off. Have a tester to double check, and your safety glasses. So let's begin. Let's take off this electrical plate. And we're going to turn on our tester to make sure the power is really off. So we can see there's... Just take your time. So all the power is off. So what we're going to do now is we're going to disconnect the rest of this here. Okay, so we're going to lift it up. Just take your time. What we're going to do is we're going to put these wire nuts on the wire, so just in case somebody accidentally turns on the circuit breaker. So here we go. We're gonna Go counterclockwise. And let's just make sure it's not hot. None of them are hot. This is the wire that would be hot. So here, we're just gonna protect that right now. Then we're gonna disconnect this one. Okay, so this would be the common here. We're just gonna put that wire nut on there so nobody gets electrocuted. And then we're off. So there's one more thing that I would like to do just as a safety precaution. Still everything is fine. We did get a false reading there for a minute. We're gonna put some electrical tape around here to keep the wire nuts from falling off. Sometimes they get hit and they fall off. Just take your time. Still off. We're doing good. Now once the water gets out of the water heater, we can move it out of the way. Okay, so now we can move the water heater. Before we move the water heater, we're gonna close this valve so we don't get water everywhere. Go ahead, disconnect your garden hose, and now we can move the water heater out of the way. So now we drain the water heater, we can move it out of the way. Just use your body and just roll it. It's pretty light now. It doesn't have any water in it. And that's how you remove an electric water heater.